Chapter 185 Extinguishing Demons at Extreme Speed. 20 meters. There's a wall in front of me. There's no door. I checked the gym's blueprint. Either you have to blast through the wall, or you'll have to take a 200-meter detour to get to the other side of the wall. Shit! Mo-Fan cursed. He immediately turned around and took the detour according to Ling Ling's instructions. Blasting open the wall wasn't difficult for Mo-Fan. The problem was Fiery Fist would blast the entire room into ruins, making him no different than the demon who was killing inside the room. 200 meters, if he was to use all of his strength to run, it wouldn't take too long. After arriving at what seemed to be a makeup room for performers, Mo-Fan kicked open the door. After opening the door, Mo-Fan discovered that the room was extremely bright. At a glance, he saw a girl in performance clothes hanging up on the wall. She was already out cold, the arteries on her wrist had been cut open. Her blood was flowing down the wall. Another insatiable demoness was standing by the wall, licking it greedily. This scene could only be described as horrifying. Mo-Fan glanced at the girl in stagewear, his face already turning purple, his eyes filling with rage. This kind of parasitic process was even more painful than instant death. The creature would hang the person up and hold their throat. Then, it would make them bleed while they were still conscious. The victim would not only experience the agony of their blood being slowly drained, they would also receive spiritual torment at the hands of the gluttonous creature. This would most likely leave behind trauma within the victim's heart. Die. Mo-Fan did not hesitate at all. He threw the rose flames within his hand at the green-scaled demoness. The demoness was in the middle of enjoying herself. How could she possibly have expected a calamity flying her way? It didn't dodge in time and was hit by Mo-Fan's fire burst, rupture. It was sent flying helplessly to the corner of the room, hitting itself by the dressing table. You want to escape? Mo-Fan didn't give the demoness an opportunity to breathe, immediately finishing a lightning strike. As the lightning strike hit, the demoness was wounded. After receiving numerous lightning strike whips, it no longer had the strength to climb back up. Fire burst, scorch. Mo-Fan was using the same move. This freaking green demoness had actually used the bleeding out method on the girl. Thus, he decided to use his flames to burn the demoness to death. The effect of the rose flame fire burst, scorch was relatively good. From within the rose-colored flames, he could see the demoness' ugly face distorting in incredible pain. It continued to struggle and let out an ugly sound. The flames persisted for roughly half a minute before it finally stopped. The green demoness had been burned to death. The scorched scales began to fall away, and the bubbling skin also began to split. When this demoness died, it also began to shed its skin. Inside was another girl in incredible pain. Mo-Fan grabbed a cloth and draped it over the girl whose body was covered in mucus, and then he pulled the hanging girl down. Fortunately, Mo-Fan had a habit of bringing medicine. This was cultivated back when he was with the hunter squad, or else her cut arteries would have been hard to take care of. Mo-Fan smeared the clotting medicine on the performer girl's wound. This kind of staunching medicine was manufactured by a healing mage and was extremely precious, but its efficiency in stopping bleeding was indeed impressive. It can even stop major blood loss from arteries. After feeding the performer some water, Mo-Fan noticed signs of her waking up, after which his own face revealed a smile. Fan Mo, cut her thumb, Ling Ling told him through his earpiece. Mo-Fan cut open her thumb while she was half unconscious. A line of blood appeared, and a few seconds later, Mo-Fan actually discovered something wiggling inside it. The wiggling thing seemed to know that it was exposed as it began to pop out of the opened wound. Mo-Fan quickly caught it with his hand. It looked like a little earthworm-sized parasitic demon bug, and even had scales on it. After losing its host, the parasitic demon bug seemed to be no different than a normal bug. Mo-Fan immediately crushed it in his hand. "Thank you," the performer girl said weakly, after she regained consciousness. "What element are you?" Mo-Fan asked. Healing element," the girl replied weakly. "Are you able to use your magic?" Mo-Fan asked. "I should be after resting a bit." The performer girl looked relatively stable. Her face forcefully revealed a cool smile. "That's good. Could you take care of the student too? Go to the fire shelter. If I remember correctly, there should be food, water, and medicine there," Mo-Fan told her. Are there still many of these creatures out there?" the healing element girl asked as she nodded. "Lots of them. They are parasitic and infectious. I cut open your thumb so you won't become one of them," Mo Fan saw the girl being a bit more clear-headed, relatively calm, and her face displayed some gratitude. Then send all of the people like me to the fire shelter. I'll heal them, the performer girl said sincerely. All right. Mo Fan was also feeling depressed for those who were completely disturbed and weak. He just didn't have the time to send each of them out. Now, there would be a healing magician inside the enclosed fire shelter. With her, he would be able to set up a safe zone. The people he saved could all head down there. Fortunately, there's food, water, and medicine in there. Once the school and Hunter Union's people arrived, they'd be able to take these people out to heal. Excuse me, may I ask what your name is? Just as Mo Fan was about to leave, the pale-faced healing elemental girl asked. Don't tell me your name is Leifeng, the girl laughed. Her appearance was a bit withered, but she was still very dainty. My name is nothing important. Mo Fan smiled and hastily left the place. Mo Fan's name wasn't a good thing was true. Mo Fan's name had turned him into a public enemy in the Azure campus. After all, he stole all the resources that were meant to be given to the new students. That's why when the girl asked for his name, Mo Fan was hesitating. However, the girl didn't continue asking. Mo Fan also didn't have the time to sit here and play with them. He hastily charged toward the next location of the red dots. Ling Ling, location. Mo Fan called out. 50 meters to the right, 100 meters to the front, and left back 130 meters. They are beginning a large-scale operation. Ling Ling said, Shit, just how many people have been taken? You should know that the school has dormitories. If one has been taken, then the entire dormitory will suffer. Fortunately, the school went on vacation. Oh right, it's possible for those infected people to be outside and continue to infect others. If that's the case, this will be even more difficult. No one outside of school. How could this be? Aren't they just like normal people during daytime? Mo Fan asked. I estimate that after they've been infected, the parasitic demon bugs let out an unconscious mind control, making them not want to leave the school grounds during the day or night. In this place, there are many people who fit what they want, Ling Ling told him. I see, they are looking at my university as a cafeteria. They really aren't putting a new student like me in their eyes. Fan Mo, the three of them seem to have sensed your presence, they are proceeding toward you. This place is too narrow, it's not suited for my fighting style. I remember there's an indoor basketball court up ahead, I'll go there and catch them all at once. Mo Fan hurried towards it, making his plans as he ran. Chapter 186 Take them down in one swoop. Mo Fan ran very quickly. He didn't properly hear what Ling Ling's last few words were. After going into the indoor basketball court, Mo Fan opened the door and heard the sounds of balls bouncing in the court. Damn, there are actually girls playing basketball here. I can have them help me fight the 3 green demonesses. Mo Fan increased his speed as he ran toward the middle of the basketball court. The floor was so clean that it could be used as a mirror. After Mo Fan ran into the basketball court, he realized there were a group of girls in the middle of a game. It looked relatively fierce. Mo Fan was bursting with joy. Even as he was shouting, he heard a collision coming from the place he had passed through just moments ago. He reckoned it must be a couple of green demonesses who had knocked over the large garbage can. Ladies, please stop playing basketball for now. There are 3 magical beasts coming this way. We must join hands to defeat them. Mo Fan ran to the middle of the basketball court and shouted to the group of girls playing basketball. After saying this, he turned around with a slight smile as he looked at the 3 arrogant green demonesses. Do you really think I'd be scared of you with your numbers? I have even more helpers here. The 3 green demonesses had charged in, their triangular eyes fixed on Mo Fan, who was standing in the middle of the basketball court looking very pleased with himself. They opened their mouths, but they did not advance. SSSSSs. SSSSSSs. They let out some weird noises in Mo Fan's direction. At this moment, everyone who was still playing basketball stopped, staring at the 3 demonesses in shock. It was clear that they did not expect this place to have actual magical beasts appearing. However, before they could even react to this, they looked as though they had been hit by some magic spell. Every single one of them fell down to the floor in pain while letting out some strange noises. Fan Mo, didn't I tell you? The basketball court is filled with red dots. At this moment, Ling Ling's voice came through at the worst time. What? It's filled with red dots? That means the girls who are practicing basketball next to me. Shit! Mo Fan hastily turned around, an expression which couldn't be described by words on his face. The girls playing basketball had all fallen to the floor. They began to painfully twist their bodies under the cries of the three demonesses. Their nails grew longer, and they used them to tear open their delicate skin. As their skin was torn, green scales were visible beneath. Mo Fan was dumbstruck when he saw this scene. This feeling was similar to having a couple of antagonists finally revealing themselves in front of him. The scene was incredibly frightening. Even his scalp had started to feel numb. Every single one of them had been turned. Just now, it had been 10 or so heroes surrounding the three demon creatures. In an instant, the white chess pieces had turned to black. Mo Fan became the single white piece, completely surrounded by the black pieces. These creatures shed their skin very quickly. Mo Fan didn't have time to cut open their thumbs. All of the people playing basketball here were girls. He should have known that one of the girls would have been infected, and then infected the others. He had thought he could use the students' help to fight against the demons, but they all ended up turning into one of them instead. If they all came for him, then he'd be torn to pieces. "Fan Mo, are you able to fight against them?" Ling Ling shouted in his ear. "Definitely not. What are you gonna do then?" "I'll run first." Mo Fan wasn't stupid. He wasn't gonna wait for all of the basketball girls to finish shedding and become demons. He activated the blood beast boots without hesitation. A layer of blood-colored light was clearly visible covering Mo Fan's legs. Mo Fan ran so fast that you could see smoke following him. Fortunately, the basketball court had another exit, or it would have become really troublesome. The blood beast boots saved Mo Fan's life once more. The lights in the basketball court were too strong. Finding a place with shadows was easier said than done. If it wasn't for the blood beast boots, then he would have lost his life right there, even if he used intermediate magic. Furthermore, to use intermediate magic, it would take several seconds. By the time he finished, he would have been swallowed by the demonesses on the basketball court. Mo Fan charged to the other exit. The exit seemed to be the passage for the athletes, leading to the resting area in the back. The passage was relatively long and narrow. Just as Mo Fan ran inside, the green demonesses had finished shedding. They didn't act like basketball players, but more like rugby players who charged straight in. Mo Fan ran straight to the end of the passage. When he saw the green demonesses had followed him inside, his mouth perked up in a smile. "Good, I'll finish them in one swoop." Mo Fan smiled madly, gazing at these avaricious yet clearly dumb green demonesses. Rose flame, fiery punch, exploding heavens. His body was instantly covered by captivating rose-colored flames. Mo Fan had turned into a human torch, emitting extreme heat from the flames around him. After shouting loudly, all of the fiery punch had gathered within his right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go die for me. Mo Fan threw the fiery punch out fiercely. The rather dark passage was instantly filled with the rose flames as the gigantic fiery fist exploded forth, and the entire passage seemed like it would collapse. The two demonesses at the very front were engulfed in the flames as they let out miserable shrieks. They couldn't dodge it even if they tried. Mo Fan had slightly decreased the power of Fiery Fist, or else the two demonesses in the front would have turned into ashes from the heat. The force of the Fiery Fist pushed through. All 5 demonesses who had entered the passage had all been scorched black as they were blasted far away. The entire basketball court was lit up, and the reinforced glass within it displayed signs of cracking. The rumbling sound of the aftershock echoed inside. "Amazing!" Ling Ling exclaimed, clearly pleased by this development. "What did you say?" Mo Fan's ears were still buzzing. He couldn't hear what Ling Ling said. This fiery fist had directly blasted away 5 green demonesses. The offensive power behind it was naturally one of the highest of the intermediate spells. The thing was, there were 2 more demonesses who hadn't entered the passage. However, because the power of Fiery Fist was simply too tyrannical, not only did it destroy the passage, it had even turned into a gigantic fire wave as it burst forth from the hallway. It had swept the other 2 demonesses up and scorched them black as well. The strength and wisdom of these green demonesses are definitely not on par with the 2 we had encountered in that private garden. Especially the demoness that shed from the wife. Not only was she fast, but she was incredibly sly, Ling Ling said loudly to Mo Fan. "These are at most minion class. If there were more of them, then even I couldn't do anything." The situation before was actually very dangerous. Mo Fan replied calmly, Chapter 187 Light Element Roommate. These green demons didn't seem to know what fear was. After witnessing the might of Mo-Fan's fiery fist, your average magical beast would have run with their tails between their legs a long time ago. The remaining 6 demonesses saw Mo-Fan resting after casting magic and began to charge toward Mo-Fan through the unrecognizably burned passageway. How could Mo-Fan possibly have the mood to linger around after seeing these 6 demons? He promptly ran away. The blood beast boots were able to continue on for a little bit longer. Mo-Fan's running speed was several times faster than that of the demons, and so he quickly threw them off. On the second floor of the gym was a uniquely shaped room. A young man with golden hair gently pushed a girl into the wall. The girl was blushing. Looking like she was unable to resist her desires, she let out a little moan. "If people come here, then we're screwed," the oval-faced girl whispered. "They won't, most of the people are watching the play. We'll finish this quickly," the blonde man smiled back. The man had already pushed her to the wall. He was in the middle of kissing her neck while slowly moving toward the deeper area of her throat. The oval-faced girl's eyes widened as she watched the green creature climbing on the ceiling like a spider, slowly approaching them. SSSSSSs. The green demoness jumped down from above, biting toward the man's throat with gaping jaws filled with sharp teeth. Light cover, holy shield. Just when the green demoness was about to succeed, the blonde man suddenly turned around. His body was suddenly covered in a golden aura that expanded rapidly. The golden ray turned into a bright, golden arc. The arc instantly spread out and wrapped up the blonde man and the oval-faced girl. The golden arc had Sanskrit charms inscripted on it as it spread its metallic edges. It became like a holy shield filled with light, firmly protecting the two of them. The green demoness head directly smashed into the surface of the holy shield, sending her sprawling in a daze. Light cover, holy shield seemed to have a burning ability. The green demoness skin, where she had struck the shield, seemed to have completely burned off. It was like an evil vampire who had been exposed to holy water. "You ruined this daddy's fun." The blonde man coldly hmphed and gazed at the green demoness that was currently rolling around in pain, writhing as she clawed at her face. The burn from the holy shield wasn't like the heat from flames, but a purification from the holy cleansing. It was extremely effective against creatures of the dark, and profoundly evil creatures. The green demoness wasn't hit with any kind of magic that could kill it. Instead, she only ran into the holy shield, which was instead purifying her away. Her face was completely burned away now, and the light had spread to its throat, followed by the rest of her body. The green demoness could not bear the pain, and finally voluntarily cut itself. She had actually torn away the outer layer of her green skin. "Don't kill her, she looks like she is possessed." The blonde man was about to kill the thing, but the oval-faced girl next to him stopped him. Could it be that the couple of scary things that happened in school the past few days are related to this? The blonde man wondered. "Yes, it's possible. Look, it's a girl," the oval-faced girl exclaimed. After the green demoness skin was shed, it immediately revealed the naked body of a girl covered in mucus. The girl inside it seemed to be conscious. She hastily climbed out of the mess of skin and goo and tore away part of the tablecloth next to her, wrapping it around her body. Her eyes were filled with dismay, and she sat there with a drooped spirit. "I'll call my dorm mate to come here and help. We need to send her to the hospital first." "We'll notify the school regarding this matter," the blonde man said. Let me call our elemental director." The oval-faced girl seemed very calm. The blonde man fished out his phone and hesitated for a while before he chose who he thought was a more reliable dorm mate to call. "Where are you? Come here and help me send a girl to the infirmary. She looks like she was possessed by something," the blonde man said to the person on the other end of the phone. "Fuck. Why are you calling me at this time?" A man's roar was immediately heard from the other end of the phone. There was a young man with no shirt emerging from the shadows of the ramp between the first and second floor. He was running up the ramp toward the second floor without a care for his life as he cursed at his phone. SSSSSSSSSSSs. SSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSSssssss. The green demonesses had heard the ringtone of a phone and turned around to investigate it, just as they were about to leave. They began to chase after Mo-Fan, who was now running upstairs. "Your side seems to be quite stimulating as well. Did something happen?" The person on the phone seemed to have heard the sharp cries. "This daddy will be killed by you one day." I don't have time to bullshit with you, I need to throw off these creatures. Mo Fan said to the phone in a bad mood. Wait, don't hang up. I think I heard your voice. Are you inside the gym? Yeah. Are you by the upstairs hallway? Yeah. Run to your right side. There's an art room here. Hide here. Mo Fan didn't dare to brood over it. After he ran to the second floor, he actually did discover there was a sign with large text denoting the art room. After running that way, he saw someone opening the door. Mo Fan did not think, he just rushed inside. Zhao Manyan quickly closed the door and watched Mo Fan break and nearly slide out the window. Zhao Manyan was a little amazed at the speed, and when he looked at the boots on Mo Fan's legs, he was quickly stunned once more. 1, 2, 3. Shit. How can there be 6 of them? Zhao Manyan used the peephole as he looked out at the corridor and discovered there were 6 of the green-scaled creatures that had assaulted him getting closer. There are many girls in this school that were. Mo Fan gasped for air. Just when he was about to explain to Zhao Manyan, he suddenly realized the room had 2 girls in it. One's clothes were not tidy, it was clear she had been doing something just now, and another one seemed like she wasn't wearing anything, and was using the tablecloth to wrap around her body as she hid in the corner. Don't misunderstand, look at these scales. She came from inside those things, Zhao Manyan awkwardly explained. I know, you don't need to explain. I will explain the situation to you in a bit. Help me deal with the 6 creatures that followed me, Mo Fan said sincerely. Chapter 188 Sealing off the area. I'll protect you, just use your thunderbolt and blow them away. Zhao Manyan said, an intermediate lightning mage shouldn't be afraid of these little magic beings, right? No, the power of thunderbolt is too strong. It'll destroy their bodies. I don't want to become a murderer. Mo Fan exclaimed. Just now, it looked like she began to shed after she bumped into the light element magic. I think these creatures that possess others are very scared of light magic, the oval-faced girl observed. Mo Fan glanced at her. Zhao Manyan interrupted with a smile and said, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend. I've met her, Mo Fan said in a bad temper. When school started, Zhao Manyan had brought her back to the dorm several times, and even had a couple of meals there. Mo Fan did not remember what her name was. It's my first time meeting you, though. The girl looked at Mo Fan in surprise. He coughed to himself. Let's deal with this matter in front of us first. These 6 green demonesses are still. Zhao Manyan changed the topic just in time. Unfortunately, before he could finish what he said, 2 claws suddenly punched through the door. The claws crossed with left and right, tearing a couple of holes into the wooden door. The 3 people who were discussing how to deal with them were now visible to the demonesses beyond. Their faces naturally changed. Mo Fan took the initiative and finished chanting his magic. In his hand, a lightning trace appeared. Zhao Manyan immediately put his girlfriend behind him as a golden facula emerged on his fingertip. The faces of the 2 were relatively solemn. After all, this was no longer a laughing matter. Dazzle, purification. Zhao Manyan shot out the facula on his fingertip. The point of light turned into a relatively slow pellet as it flew straight into the big mouth of one of the green demonesses. The green demoness didn't know what it had swallowed. When Zhao Manyan snapped his finger, her stomach suddenly bloated. A needle-like radiance shone out of her pores. The green demoness covered her swollen stomach with her hands in agony. This radiance possessed a very effective purifying power, especially since the dazzle had entered her body. It was very likely that it had purified all of the blood in her body. This green demoness was boiling in internal agony. Her claws began to tear apart some of the vicious scales on her body. She seemed to want to return the body to the girl she was possessing. The lightning strike that Mo Fan was in control of was still suspended in the air. He did not throw it out yet. Mo Fan himself had spent a lot of effort just to get rid of one green demoness. This Zhao Manyan had used the lowest of the dazzle spells to quickly kill one. Dazzle, Purify was actually the first level of dazzle. This kind of parasitic demon seems to be extremely afraid of light. Fanmo, it seems like you found a good partner. Oh, I should call you Mo Fan, Lingling said through the Bluetooth earphone. Mo Fan nodded. The lightning strike had turned into numerous electrical snakes as it flew toward the green demoness. Mo Fan was also very clear that even if dazzle was very effective, it would still not be able to finish off 6 demons at once. Be careful, The oval-faced girl turned pale with fear as she watched the demonesses in the back charging at them with vicious looks. Their speed was relatively quick. Mo Fan and Zhao Manyan both dealt with one each. However, they could not stop the other four. Those used the walls as they charged toward Zhao Manyan and Mo Fan. Just as Mo Fan was about to retreat, he suddenly thought back to Dean Zhu, who had told him that the Blood Beast boots were able to pull off a kick of incredible power. With a thought, Mo Fan could feel his own mana being taken away, followed by an incredible energy bubbling forth in his leg, causing the muscles there to swell up. Mo Fan waited for the right opportunity before he jumped up to do a roundhouse kick. The bloody radiance let out a scarlet light at the moment Mo Fan kicked. Mo Fan's heel smashed into a demoness head with the power of a wild beast, accompanied by an incredible red fluctuation. The red aura enhanced Mo Fan's kick by many times. Bang! Herk! A heavy noise was heard, followed by the horrifying sound of bones breaking. The green demoness face had warped. Its entire body flew from one side of the hall to the other. Ice spread, cover. Mo Fan was still infatuated with the invigorating feeling of the kick when the oval-faced girl completed her spell. Frost quickly began to fall, covering the entire place. The floor immediately turned into layers of ice. This ice spread up the walls, and the walls within the hall completely froze over. The ice spread's effect wasn't very obvious, but the remaining three demonesses' movements had slowed down a lot. Originally, their claws allowed them to climb on the walls, ceiling, and be very nimble on the ground. However, after the ice spread, their claws were completely unable to latch on. One of the green demonesses fell down from the wall, knocking right into the one paralyzed by Mo Fan's lightning strike. Primary magic definitely could not kill these green demonesses, except for Zhao Manyan's light magic. As long as the dazzles hit them, the green demonesses would immediately fall to the ground in unspeakable pain. Zhao Manyan's chanting speed was relatively quick. The second dazzle was completed and finished off yet another one. With the three of them cooperating, dealing with the 6 of the green demonesses was suddenly nothing too dangerous. After Mo Fan saw a golden ray emerging from the golden shield on Zhao Manyan's body, his face betrayed his sudden recognition. "So you're also an intermediate magician. Why didn't you do anything during the rookie beast battle competition?" This holy shield was an intermediate light spell. Mo Fan had noticed that his roommate had concealed an incredible strength from the very beginning, and now, after he saw Zhao Manyan using the intermediate spell of the light element, he had finally verified his suspicions. "I'm an intermediate light magician. What's the use for us? Furthermore, why would I step on the table of a brother?" Zhao Manyan cursed him back. Mo Fan thought about it. An intermediate light magician's role in a team was crucial. If one fought by themselves, they'd be a free sandbag. Their gazes returned once more to the green demonesses that were currently shedding. Maybe it was because the girls' basketball uniforms were relatively elastic, but when they had finished shedding, their uniforms were still intact. However, the mucus covering them still looked incredibly gross. Shit, just what kind of creature is this? How can they turn jade-like girls into that kind of thing? Zhao Manyan said, "It's a contagious parasitic-type demon. The people affected by this in this gymnasium are not small. Does the school know? I've contacted them. They should be taking measures." "Ah, do you guys hear something?" Mo Fan asked suddenly. "I also heard it. It sounds like the automatic doors are being turned on." Just when Mo Fan was about to check what was going on, Ling Ling spoke up in Mo Fan's ear. "Mo Fan, all of the exits in the gymnasium have been sealed." "Sealed?" Mo Fan was dumbstruck. It was decided by the school and the Hunter Union. They cannot let anyone with the blood of the parasite come out, or they will cause even more trouble. They had to resort to sealing off the place. Ling Ling said,